Oh,
All right.
absolutely. Yep.
So Peter, if you can, for some of the new people that is also here, if you can go over those items that were, I mean, the reason why we're calling brokers in the first place, right? Like, what are those things that you were reaching out to? You mentioned it before, the T12 and the rent rolls. But if I'm brand new, what does that even mean, right? What is a T12 and rent rolls and some of the things that we're trying to get information from the broker?
Yep. Good point. Good place to start. First of all, I get, guys, thanks for showing up. I don't even know what to say. I'm blown away that we have 25 people on this call. That is amazing. I think this is I've actually lost track now. I don't know if this is just our fourth, maybe our fifth. I'm sure more people are going to be showing up. I know some people are at work. Some of you on the call are at work, and thank you so much for being here. I can't believe it. I'm completely humbled that there's this many people that have any interest to hear what I have to say. But to Eddie's point, those three things we're after, those are the critical things we're going to need to be able to underwrite a deal. And the T12, as some of you know, is the trail. It stands for trailing 12. So it's your P&L. It's the trailing 12 months of financial information on the property. And that's going to start to tell you the story, right? The rent roll is specifically the rents, right? What are people supposed to be paying? Who actually paid? So you're going to use those two things for most of your numbers. The OM is a marketing piece. Some of them will have it. Most of the deals I would recommend that you go after will have it. Although, when there isn't one, that can be a really good sign. It stands for offering memorandum, by the way, the OM. Some different markets call it different things. You might hear it called a prospectus. You're probably dealing with an old broker if you hear that. I forget some marketing piece. I forget exactly the term that other markets use, but anyway, it's exactly that. It's a marketing piece. So it's good to have, but when they don't have it, that can be a good sign that either the broker hasn't taken time to really value this property, and it could be a sign that there's an opportunity to get this thing below market, right? Some properties, they're not going to be able to give you a T12 or rent roll, or it's going to be on handwritten yellow lined paper. That can make it very difficult to figure out what's really going on, but it's also a good sign that this property is really poorly managed, and there's probably some efficiencies that can be established. So another sign that, hey, we might have a deal here. So don't run away from those when you can't get them. It could definitely be an opportunity. So anything else you would add to that, Eddie?
I would see about some of the things that we can look out for that we know brokers are immediately going to raise a red flag, like, oh, this is another newbie, right? It's another person that was watching a YouTube video and now wants to get into the space. So what are some of those things that we can look out for when it comes to multifamily, when you're in this space, that you're looking for, that a broker is going to say to you, hey, don't waste my time? Now, listen, guys and girls, brokers can be extremely aggressive, to say the least, right? They are focused on doing high quality business at all times. And so if you're coming, they expect you to be able to come correct. So just a few key pointers as we get ready to start doing the broker talks. This is what this is now called, hosted by the great Peter. I'm just the guy in the background here. But these broker talks, what is it all about and why do we go through it? That's exactly what we'll break down in detail. Some of the key things you want to make sure that it's not going to expose you in a way that is going to be negative in the eyes of the broker. The first thing is, typically you don't say, well, what's the price? What's the sales price? That isn't something that brokers normally talk. fact, some brokers view it as being disrespectful because they want you to come with your offer. But what you can ask for is the whisper price or the call to offer. Exactly. So when you're asking like, hey, how much is being sold for? You want to ask what the whisper price is. Some brokers, another quick tip, some brokers will actually tell you the price in regards to per unit. So they won't give you the price of the whole entire thing. They'll tell you it's about $300 a door, right? So you at that point will do your math. But again, it's just a different level, and you just have to understand how the game is played on this side of this the fence. But it really is the same as it is when you were doing single family or anything else. You just first have to learn what all those rules and parameters are. And that's what we plan on accomplishing here with the Broker Talks. So before we get started, we're gonna pull Jackie up here to be able to make some calls with us. And I see Sean has his hand raised. So Sean, we definitely want to bring you up and ask you to unmute and be able to come parlay with us, man. You should be able to talk now, Sean.
Hey, I'm on my phone, so I don't know if I can call and be on the Zoom at the same time on my cell phone. Do you know if that's possible?
You probably, so no, it won't be possible because
Okay.
Zoom will route you over, so you wouldn't be able to do it like that, no.
Okay. Now, the next question I had is, do you have like a CRM for follow-up for these brokers that you use? How do you go about keeping track of them all? Because I'm finding I'm losing them through different things.
Yeah, good question. So do you have a CRM that allows you to keep track of everything? There are several CRMs that you guys could use. There's a bunch I could recommend, like HubSpot. You can use Podio. But I'll be completely honest. If you are new, I would recommend using Google Sheets or just Microsoft Excel. Just completely honest. Put the name of the broker, their phone number, their email, and the property you're talking about, and then put follow-up date as one of the other headers up top. And then you can have on the side of that notes. Do not make this extremely complicated. And also don't make this where you have to like relearn, okay, how do I do this aspect? At the end of the day, you just want to do two main things. You want to be efficient and you want to be effective. And also, just like John just said, it's free. So there's no point of going out and paying for a whole new set of tools and systems where you don't even have a deal yet, right? So keep it simple. I would just do Excel spreadsheet, and then I would color code it if you want to. You can get real fancy. You can use red, yellow, green, right? I mean, go crazy, right? But don't spend money, and just every day, make sure you come in and you take a look at your Excel spreadsheet so you can see who's on my next follow-up date. One of the good things with Excel is you can hit the filter and whoever you're supposed to follow up will pop up to the top first. And you can just do that every single day. And I would recommend doing it that way and kill it as far as being able to be more organized and efficient and effective. Again, the two E's.
Got it. Okay. Awesome.
Awesome. Good. Anybody else has a question? I'm trying to find his hand raised. If it's just Jackie's. Yes. All right. Here we go. My guy, Aldo. You should be able to unmute.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Perfect. Yes, sir.
Hey, no, I was just assuming that we raise our hand if we have a broker to call. So I was just putting myself in queue.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
You're good. I'm gonna bring Jackie up as well, and then we'll start doing it. So here's how we're gonna do this, because we noticed some people that are new here as well. And I'm monitoring the chat. So if there's any questions on Zoom or on YouTube or anywhere else that we are live, we'll be able to answer those questions for you. Now, we'll have people that are making phone calls will be on dialing, and we're all dialed at the same time. And as soon as one person gets an actual broker, you can raise your hand or wave the camera or whatever, put it on speaker, everybody else will stop dialing. And of course, everybody's already muted, so that's great. But if you were unmuted, you just mute yourself so we can just listen to one call at a time. That way there's no confusion and we can actually hear everything that's going on. Make sense? Perfect, good. All
Awesome.
right, Peter, I'll let you start it off and I'm going to try to get everybody up front to see who's calling.
So I think when you say start off, what I think we should do is multiple people should be dialing, because so much of the time, we've had this challenge in the past, right? I think last week, I don't know that we spoke to anybody. I think we had one guy get somebody on the call at the end of the call, right? So if we can get 3 or 4 of us dialing at the same time, we're more likely to get somebody live. And if we have 2 people live at the same time, that's okay, right? We'll just we'll try to manage that as best we can. But Aldo, are you ready to start dialing now? Awesome. Well, I'll do the same, and just basically, so are you comfortable just doing it, or you need me to model it for you first? Yeah, go ahead. Why don't you do it?
Well,
I'm going to stay on mute.
Sorry.
Go.
Just because I know we do have some brand new people in here.
Yep.
Would it be okay? I know it probably would take another 3 minutes, but would it be okay if we role played the script really, really fast?
Absolutely.
So we can still
100%.
have Aldo. Aldo can actually be the broker, and Peter, you can be investor giving them a call.
I emailed you the script, Eddie.
Oh, you did? Okay, I'll pull it up as well.
Can you put it on the screen so everybody can see it?
Yep. All right. Was this in email today or a past email?
Just a few minutes, just before this call, or maybe.
Okay, I got it. I see it.
And so, am I going to role play with Aldo?
Yeah.
Yep. Aldo, do you want to be the caller? You want to be the broker?
Either way.
Okay. Do you have a script that you use? Do you have my script?
I do not have a script. I just
Okay.
questions that I need.
All right. So, and that's fine. I do recommend you have some bullet points at a minimum.
Yes, I have the questions that I'm going to ask him.
Okay. All
on
right.
the
Perfect.
property,
Well,
but we can go over
Cool.
this as well. It's not a problem.
yeah, you do it however you want to do it. You're the caller, so I'm just going to be the broker.
All right.
Okay.
We're all ready. Can everybody see the script? And if you need a script, please just let us know and we'll make sure to send that over to you. Jackie just says she called both of her brokers and they went to voicemail, which is not surprising. So definitely make sure you leave a message and send a quick text message, and Jackie. And if they end up picking up, then we'll definitely make sure to hear you out.
Jackie taking action. I love it.
All right, we're ready to go.
All right. So ring ring. Call my broker.
Hello, this is Peter.
Hey Peter, this is Aldo with Stoic Holding. How are you?
I'm doing great today. How you doing, Aldo?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for asking. Hey,
Awesome.
listen, I just had a quick question about the property on XYZ, your 70X units. I got some of the financials that you had on the website there, but I just had a few questions before diving any deeper into that. First of all, is the property still available?
Yeah, we're expecting a couple offers in this week, but it is still available. Yes.
Excellent. And so one of the things that I'm looking for is if you guys have any whisper guidance pricing on this property specifically.
Well, so let me ask you this, Aldo. Are you a buyer, or what's your role in this?
Yeah, great question. Yes, I am a buyer. I'm looking to be the buyer for this property and investing in it.
Okay. Do you own any assets in this market now?
Not in this market, no.
Okay. All right. Very good. Yeah, so the whisper price on this is 2.5 million.
2.5 million. Okay. Sounds good. And, to piggyback off of that, do you guys have a date for calls to offer?
We do. I don't know. We're working on that. I don't think it's set yet. Hopefully next week sometime.
Okay, excellent. That's perfect. That'll help with the underwriting process on my end. Let's see, I can't read the rest of these. Okay, great. Couple more questions. Would it be possible, Peter, for you to send me an OM for this deal, specific to this deal?
Yeah, absolutely. I can get that out to you. You want me to email it?
Perfect. And if you have the T12 and the rent roll, that's the most current one you have, that'd be very helpful as well.
Okay. Yeah, I can send you that as well. Usually we need to get proof of funds before we send that out. Would you be able to send that over to me?
So, before we start dealing with proof of funds on our end anyway, we like to really just underwrite, at least do a napkin underwriting on the deal to see if it's something that we want to go ahead with. Our investors really like to have that sort of information, and our partners like to have that information up front. Is that going to be a problem?
No, it shouldn't be.
Okay,
May
great.
have to have you sign an NDA, but
I'd be happy to sign an NDA.
okay. All right, sounds good. Anything else you need?
Yeah, and a question from a financing standpoint on this deal is there an assumable debt? I didn't see that on the website.
Yeah, so as a matter of fact, there is. The loan is assumable.
Excellent. Could you send me what terms they have on those as well
Yeah.
with the rest of the info?
We can get you that information as well.
Great. And to follow up on that, is there seller financing available on the equity on this property? Just all questions that we kind of ask of all.
Yeah, that's not gonna work because the first loan won't allow it.
Understood. All right. And as far as being able to look at the property, are there dates and times that are specific for folks to be able to take a look at it, or are there other steps in between?
Yeah, no, there's no walkthrough scheduled right now, but let me know what your schedule is, and we'll see if we can get that coordinated.
Sounds good. Well, Peter, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it, and this is very helpful. And if you could just send me those documents to xyz@gmail.com or professionaltag.com,
You got it.
would really appreciate it. Thanks, man.
You bet. Thanks for the call.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome job. How you think he did, guys?
Grade me.
Let's give it up for my guy. I
Yes,
thought
sir.
that was really good. Peter, what was your take on it?
Yeah, you did a great job. I mean, you clearly have, you're confident in the call. Just make sure whatever questions you're going to ask are in front of you and you can see them. And if you can't see them, just silence is okay.
Sure.
Don't tell them you can't find your questions.
No, I was like a parentheses in there. That was.
Yeah, I understood. No, I mean, have you been making calls?
I've made calls in the past, yes, and I just talked to a broker on this specific deal last week that is no longer with the deal, so I had to call another one and leave a message.
Nice.
And they called me back today, and I wasn't able to pick up.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're following up on a specific deal that you've already called on.
Yes.
Excellent. I love it. So,
Good job.
all right.
So
You ready
we get tons of love in the chat. So good job on that. A
Yeah,
few
and
things I want. Oh, go ahead, Peter.
The only other thing I would mention when we do stuff like this, if anybody on the call has any constructive credit, please raise your hand. We love to hear. We learn so much from the audience. If something he said sparked a thought sparked a question. If you've got a question, please ask it. If there was something you heard that, hey, that was good, but I've had a lot of success when I do it this way instead, please bring those things to the table, because that's so beneficial for the whole group. Don't keep that stuff to yourself, please.
So I have a question on, one of some of the questions that we were going back and forth on. I noticed you asked for proof of funds, and, the way that I handle is the way that I think I've never been for proof of funds for, getting the initial data. So
Right.
that I'm sure that'll come up at some point, but, I really, the idea behind it is I don't mind, giving proof of funds. I just would like to make sure that the deal is worth our time, and not because I don't want to waste your time or my time on a deal that may not work for me. Have you guys found a better way to say that, or, is that not upfront, or I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
So for me personally, I thought that was a great way to say that, right? Like, what if you can't get proof of funds? That would have took you out the game. So I thought that was a really good way to be able to say it, and it's the truth. Like, why would I go through the whole thing of proof of funds, this, and a third? Now, if you say that, though, you do have to come with understanding that some brokers will be like, well, then you're just not going to get no information. Just try your best, and et cetera, et cetera. And that works, right? I think the best way to kind of go about that too is really just filling it out with the broker, right? Because every broker is different, and it relates to just kind of like the relationship that you're able to foster with that broker. Peter, did you have something you want to add on that?
No, I mean, I thought you handled it well. I threw that in there obviously just to bust your chops. I haven't had anybody ask me that yet, but they will, right? And some of them are much more difficult than others. Some of them clearly, right off the bat, they're assuming you're not real, even if you come in with confidence.
Right.
And especially some of the older guys that have been around a long time, they have attitudes. If they don't know you, they're pissed off that you got their number in the first place, and they just give you a hard time, right? And I just have fun with those guys. You can tell right away that they're being jerks, and I just kill them with kindness. And I'll tell them straight up, yeah, I'm pretty new at this, but the team I'm on has closed about 1,000 doors in the last 12 months. I mean, we're serious buyers. We're not messing around. We just put 2 weeks ago, we put a $39 million property under contract. Did Peter St. Martin have anything to do with that transaction? Absolutely not. But actually, I plan to invest in that deal, number one. Number two, I just while we were starting this call, I got a text from a guy who funded a $250,000 deal on Friday. And he's like, hey, you got any more deals from me? My response to him was, as a matter of fact, I do. I have equity positions in multifamily deals that I'll be talking to you, talking about with you shortly. The only reason I'm not talking to him right now is because I'm on this Zoom, right? So and if you don't have those relationships, that's okay, right? If you've never called a broker before, that's okay. If you've never underwritten a deal, that's okay. You're in this room, you're on this team, right? You are part of the group that they're doing these deals right here, right now. I don't care what your role is. You are part of this team that is doing it. If you want to step up and start taking action, you're going to be part of the team that somebody knows, right? And that's where you need to get. You need to get known. But my goal is to get everybody speaking with confidence that you don't deserve, that you haven't earned yet, right? But that's how we have to do it. We just have to talk to these people with supreme confidence, and it's amazing what will happen. So that's it.
So we got a few people that have questions in the chat, and some that are also raising their hands. So if you can do either or. I'm going to read out the questions, and if you raise your hand, I'll hit that ask on mute like I'm about to do with on now, and you can ask your question.
Okay, guys, and hey, Peter.
Hey.
I'm coming in from Alex Group. I met you there. So thanks
Awesome.
for doing this call. I wanted to add to your script over here, some of these items like the offering memorandum, T12, when you're talking about this type of stuff like that, most of the stuff is already available online. That's how you knew about the property that was on sale. And just talking like that, that may want to, I'm not saying don't ask this kind of stuff. It's good to ask this kind of details if you're missing it. But if you want to get to like really have that conversation with the broker and get some confidence, try having like a conversation. Like, what's the story behind the built property? If it's like an old property, 1960, hey, what type of plumbing do they have? Like, just so he knows that you're more aware of the property details and what's going on, and trying to have that back and forth. So just wanted to add that. Thank you.
No, that's great. we were mentioning that earlier. That's really where I like to start, right? Is to go after the story. And you're right, when you're online, and I get that a lot, right? They'll say, well, that information's online. It's like, oh, okay, I appreciate it. My assistant had given me your phone number. I don't have that information in front of me. I just wanted to try to get it all in my inbox so I can, get it over to our underwriters and start looking at it right away. Something like that, right? But yeah, you're right. If you are doing the research ahead of time, don't ask the questions that you already know the answer to. Ask more about the story, get the background, get information on the debt, find out, can we assume it? Can we, is there any owner financing? That's really the stuff we want to get to, right? So, any other questions right now, Eddie? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. So to the point that Ahmad just said, yes, 1000%. I think what you guys have to be able to do is get the mindset down. Why are we calling this broker? Now, off top, it's going to feel like you're calling this broker because you want to find out the information on the one particular property. If that is your thought process, I urge you to change that, because that is the wrong thought process to have. Especially if you're looking to make this a career and actually change some things that's going to take place in your life, using multifamily as investments. You want to build relationships. Every single broker that you get in contact with, that you get a chance to pick up the phone and you're talking to them, this is the beginning of a long-lasting relationship. Mind you, you can talk to a broker, build a relationship, and no deal comes out of that. And that could be the same broker who 6 months, 8 months, a year later reaches back out to you because of the relationship that you continue to garner, that will find the deal that's the perfect deal for you that you were looking for. And we all know it only takes one deal in multifamily to change your entire life and generation to come. So in the introduction, yes, say who you are. There's one of the questions here is, if we have a brand new company, how do we tell them, if they haven't heard of us? New LLCs get made every day. We assume that brokers need to know who we are, but the truth of the matter is they don't, right? And also, it's not about you as the individual or your company as the individual. It's about the relationships your company or you have with other individuals who are doing the work, who are doing the large asset buys and et cetera, just like Peter just gave in that example. So that, don't worry about if your company's new, if they haven't even heard of it. In fact, I would play it to my advantage, right? Like, oh, I'm calling myself and a couple of partners, our company's called Blacktop. I've never heard of Blacktop. Yeah, you wouldn't. We're operating at a whole different level. So sometimes a lot of people don't know about us because we're partnered with other companies and et cetera. But I'm the one making calls today, right? Always use things to your advantage instead of thinking like, oh, this is a negative thing now because they're not gonna know who I am. And so therefore it somehow makes me look bad, right? So again, garner the relationship, right? In that example, although even though you did great going straight towards the deal, you didn't find out anything about the broker. Who is he? Personally myself, especially if it's a deal that I like, I would do a Google search on the broker. What have they done before? you know, is this really a broker, or is this an agent who just so happens to have a multifamily that landed on their lap, right? I'll find out what work have they done. What are they into? Go to LinkedIn. If they have an Instagram, see what things that they're like. Are they a family man or woman? These are information that you want to know so that you can use it to your advantage when, as far as connecting with a person. And I bring that up because there was Jennifer. Jennifer says, I'm a face-to-face person, so sometimes calls are harder for me to read the other party. Oftentimes I can't use like the things that we would normally use face-to-face, right? Like mirroring so they can see my facial expression. Here's what I would do, Jennifer. If that's the case, first and foremost, you should be doing your research. Do your background checks. Trust me, when you guys name drop to a broker, they are doing background checks on who you just said that you work with. So do the same thing so you can be able to use that as a form of connection. And that might make you feel a little bit more comfortable because you know a little bit about this person and you can bring up things that you know they relate to that also relates to you. The other thing is you can send them a link and do a video call, right? Do a Google Meet and it just be straight video where they see your face, you see them, if that makes you more comfortable. But don't allow that to stop you, especially you, Jennifer, you're amazing. Just get out there. However it is to make you feel more comfortable, that's what you should be utilizing. All right. So really quick, before we do anything, oh, actually, no, you guys could use this script, but I would say is make a copy of this before you guys do anything to the fact. Let me just do that. I'll make a copy of it. All right. Success follow-up question. Do you have any other similar properties? This helped me find an off-market property. Great question. Do you have any similar properties? This would be a good question. That should be question number 8. All right. Let me actually type that in for everybody now. Did you, or you could put do you have any other similar properties? All right, so that's a really good point. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Eric, for being able to bring that up. And I think there was one more question. I noticed you asked about the T12. I assume it was standard to get that. Is that broker discretion? Yes, it is at broker. It is at broker discretion. I think Peter kind of dived in a little bit on that. But another thing that is a no-no. Most brokers, if not all brokers, are tied to their client. So there's certain information about the property that you may want to see if the broker could give you like the inside scoop because they know the details. They will not. And do not expect a broker to do so, and do not put a broker in that position. It is the fastest way for a broker to not do business with you. Their job is to sell the property for their client, and they make money by selling the property, period. That has nothing to do with helping you as the buyer. Now, what a broker will do is if you showcase the right things, they will put you in the position to talk to the seller where you can ask those questions in more detail. But again, it's a relationship game. If you build the right relationship with the brokers off books, they will tell you certain things to help you get the job done. All right, so I hope that was helpful for everybody. One last question. Joe just came back in. He said, it's a good idea to be upfront about what we do, who we are, our goals, sponsors, before we talk about the property. Yes and no, Joe. Some brokers don't care. And you know, it's rude of them, but it's the truth. They really could care 2 shits about like who you guys are, this, that, and third. Think of it in the role of reverse, right, Joe? So if you were getting, let's say 15 calls a day, all random, all people asking you the same exact questions, and everybody's trying to make sure that you know that, hey, I'm the one, right? Like I'm your buyer. After a while, it kind of gets to like weigh in on you where you kind of get this type of energy that you don't want to continue to play ball in, right? So a lot of them don't care who you are. But I wouldn't let that stop me from saying, who we are and what we do. I would maybe just lean into it, right? Like, hey, I'm part of an investment group. Recently we've been buying a lot of properties. In fact, over the last 6-9 months, we've purchased over 1,000 units, and we're aggressively looking to purchase more. While I'm giving you a call, because I saw the property that you had and I thought it was beautiful. That's one of the things that you guys didn't do. You didn't big up the property you're talking about, right? Make the broker feel like you really like this property, and that's why you called. And then from there, you can dive a little bit deeper into the numbers and everything, because the broker knows that you are interested, you're asking the right questions, you made him or her feel good about just being on the phone with you. And that's, again, how you build relationships. Again, last thing, the goal should be to build a relationship with the broker. Second, the goal is, okay, tell me about the property, right? So thinking this way, did we become best friends? And then tell me about the property. Whether or not you become best friends doesn't matter, but the attempt to is going to be beneficial to your business and your journey in this multifamily space. All right, so I think that is enough. We have no more questions. Let's get started on our dials. Everybody has this, so I'm going to change the thing here. I'm gonna stop sharing here. I want to make sure everybody has the script, and we'll start dialing. We'll get things doing. Now, again, if you're dialing, you can go ahead and take it off of mute. Oftentimes I like it better hearing the dial
Eddie,
tone.
I had a
Yeah.
thought about that. So why don't we just do one person off mute, right? And then anybody else, if you have numbers, go ahead and dial. If you get somebody, then obviously if somebody's already talking to someone, don't unmute. But if they're just dialing and we've got some silence, go ahead and unmute, and we'll mute everybody else. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Perfect.
All right,
And just so that we also know, if you are dialing, raise your hand. That way I'll keep a lookout. And if you have someone, I'll make sure to put you in the spotlight so that we all know to pay attention.
perfect. Now I'm gonna go ahead and stay unmuted because I'm about to dial. I just needed to get the address here before I do that. But yeah, Aldo, we're paying attention to you, so get them on the line. Unmute, and I'll mute. I'm gonna go ahead and give somebody a shot right now.
This is Emma Capstone. I'm sorry I missed your call. Please leave a message and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Adam, this is Aldo. Sorry I missed your call earlier. Yeah, if you could give me a call back at some point this afternoon, that'd be great. Phone number 423-827-6788. I did talk to Tyler last week, and he put me on to you for this specific property. So anyway, I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good job. Great voicemail.
Funny, I thought you were on mute, so I thought it was my guy that I was getting in, and I'm hearing it ring, and I'm hearing this. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, oh man, I better mute in case somebody answers. So you got another number to try?
Not just yet.
Okay, well I'm dialing right now, so we'll see what
Carry on.
happens. Hopefully we can get some other people dialing as well, but 34 people on here. I can't even believe it. I'm so excited about that. Tell your friends, come on back. Come back next week with a list of people to call.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Jennifer says, shocking to me how many real estate agents and brokers don't answer their phone. That is the honest to God truth. I learned that in single family game, that you have a better chance of sometimes hitting the lottery than you will for an agent to pick up their phone. It's weird. It's weird how they work. Because you would think this is the most important thing that you would answer in your line of business. But, and this is why I'm telling you guys, a way ahead of the curve is to build
About
relationships.
to leave a message.
Go ahead.
Finished recording. You can hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Austin, this is Peter St. Martin with Real Estate Solution Providers. I'm calling you about the property at 1110 West Poplar Street down in Griffin. It's probably, I'll be honest, it's probably not exactly what I'm looking for, but it is intriguing at the price point. And there may be some people in my network that are interested in this property. So I'd love to talk to you about it, get some more information. My focus is more Class A and Class B multifamily, 100 units and above. So at 80, this is close enough. I'd take a look at it. If the numbers are right, if there's enough upside, we probably have somebody in our network that's interested. So love to hear from you. 678-948-6855. 678-948-6855. Look forward to talking to you. If you want, you could send the T12 and the rent roll to resp.underwrite@gmail.com. That's Real Estate Solution Providers, resp.underwrite@gmail.com. And our team can start doing a little napkin underwrite and see if it's something we'd want to pursue. So I appreciate your time. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. So that was something I kind of thought of on last week's call on the fly. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to leave my email address. And somebody actually responded to me. And she's been chasing me ever since. So I was so busy at the end of last week. We were trying to save a property from foreclosure that I didn't even get a chance to follow up. Shame on me. I needed to reach out to the woman on the call last week. Is Marcia here today? I don't think I saw her. I got to make a note to reach out to Marcia as soon as we end this call and let her know that her broker is chasing us and wants to know if we're interested in her property. So anyway, who knows? More than likely, I will not get an email from him. Maybe I get a call back, but either way, he's in my spreadsheet. I'll follow up with him until I get him. And again, I'm not particularly interested in this property. It's probably not in a nice enough area. I probably wouldn't want to deal with the tenants, but I know it's not the only property these guys deal with. So I want every broker in the area to know who I am. So I'm going to call every one of them, whether they have a listing I'm interested or not.
Yeah. Again, it's about building the relationships. After a while, guys and girls, people will remember who you are and they'll be reaching out to you with the deal, which is the whole goal, right? But it's going to be based off the relationship. You talk to somebody one time, they're not going to remember who you are.
So Eddie, do we have any other questions in the chat? Because I'll just keep dialing if there are some questions you want to, or if
no,
you have
not
questions.
not right now. I know
Okay.
James, no, not James, sorry. Elise is dialing right now.
Awesome. Okay. Cool.
So we'll keep you out. If you can put your raise your hand if you're dialing, that way you can come to the top.
Yeah, and Jackie might have gotten called into a meeting or something. I know she turned off her her camera.
So Jennifer gave a great comment here, and that is something that we discussed that we are going to do, is trying to schedule a time with a broker so that way we can have that experience shared with all of us. The only thing is, in order for that to happen, we got to have a property that we like to actually want to have that conversation with them, right? So I fully believe that we'll probably have that by next week or the week after, since we do these once a week. But yes, great idea, and we definitely are going to do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, that, fantastic idea. So I've certainly made a note here. I would love it if all 34 of you would also make that same note, right? I mean, wouldn't it be amazing if we had 4 or 5 scheduled calls between 2 and 4 next Monday? I mean, that would be incredible. So, in fact, I just had a thought, Eddie. We need to set up a Calendly, right? And let's start filling those slots. Let's do 15-minute time slots from 2 o'clock on Monday to 3:30 on Monday. And let's start filling up that Calendly with some calls. That would be, I'm going to do that. I mean, I'd rather it not be me that has all 6 slots filled up. I'd like to be at the point where I have none of them filled up and I have to go outside that time slot for my calls, because I want you guys to be making these calls.
I just got the, I just made a call. I unmute. I'm not sure if you guys heard it.
I
No.
saw that you were unmuted and I saw you were talking, but I couldn't hear you. I can hear you now,
Oh.
obviously. Yeah, I don't know what happened
That's
there.
weird.
No.
Yeah, well, they didn't pick up, so
Okay.
I left a message.
Well, sometimes when you
awesome.
dial them right back, they might answer. You want to try that?
Okay, so how do I
So-
do that with unmute and,
Are you looking at the Zoom on your phone and calling?
yes,
Uh,
yes, I
That's
am.
why.
That's it.
That's
Oh,
that's
okay.
why. Which is fine. I still want you to make that call.
Yeah.
and, you can just come back and tell us what happened. But so for everybody, like on my single family side of the business, we do what's called triple dial, which I'm sure obviously you guys understand what that means. But if anybody on my team only dials one time, it doesn't even register in our system. It's just like, if you dial somebody one time, that's like the new butt dial. You called them on accident, right? Like if you are trying to get a hold of somebody, call them 3 times.
Yeah.
And I know somebody here is gonna be like, but that feels too aggressive or whatever. I'm gonna show you how to deal with that. You call them 3 times back to back to back. And statistically, I've actually proven this. Statistically, they will pick up on the 3rd time. If they don't, then they truly can't get to the phone. But if you call them 3 times and they pick up on the 3rd time, like, hello, who is this? As if like, what's the problem? What's the emergency?
Yeah.
How you get over that is by acting like it's your first time calling. I promise you, it works every time. I even had people say, man, I thought something was wrong. You called so many times. And I'd be like, oh, well, no, I called. I just couldn't tell if it was going through because you didn't pick up. And I go straight into the script, right? Because in my mind, if I call you, I'm assuming you're going to pick up because this is your business line. So that's how my mind is working, right? So I'm telling you guys, on the single family space, I do this all day, every day, and it works. Try it now. Do not just call these brokers one time, because that's called the butt dial. Call them 3 times in a row, back to back, and see if you can get them. If you're using a dollar, you can go to the settings in the Zoom so that can be heard. Oh, cool. So Eric says if you're using a dollar, I'm assuming he's saying if you're using your phone while you're on Zoom, you can go to settings in the Zoom and set it so that it can be heard. So maybe that might be share computer sound or share sound, and possibly that could work. I've never actually tried it, Eric, so that's something I will try next time. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. We need to figure that out so we can tell people how to do that. That's awesome. Good stuff. So in fact, I just
really
sent,
quick, I wanted to ask some people on here, is there anyone here that has had trouble finding brokers to call? Is that a situation that is coming up? And if so, then just put like a 1 or something in the chat so that we can see who needs help or what can we offer on our next lives so that we can make sure you guys aren't missing on step 1. So I know Stacy, no, sorry, not Stacy, Nancy said it. Okay. All right, Isabel. Hope you have a great appointment. Haven't tried. This is my first call. Okay, cool. Rob, what's going on, man? Okay, so
Chilling,
that's
man. Chilling. Glad to be here.
glad you're here, man. That's something that I think. All right, Aldo, I think that's something that we will do, and what Peter and I will do. We'll either do it live here for everybody, or we'll record something and then just post it on social medias, YouTube, the Facebook groups and stuff like that, so you guys could be able to review it as many times as you like, follow it step by step, and then be able to be ready by the time we have the next live call. Because what we want this time frame to be is full of actual calls and have that energy. So if you were scared, shitless throughout the week to make a call, at least on Monday between the hours of 2 and 3:30, you got your fam with you. You're gonna make things happen. All right. So Jackie said I have a 3 p.m. Okay, cool. Yes, good job, Jackie. Love the work, and definitely give us an update on what's going on with the broker, or if you guys need help talking to the broker, schedule it. We'll get that Calendly link out today. Schedule it, and we can help you live together with everybody. But very good job, and we'll definitely do more role play in the future too. So that's a good one. All right. So while that's happening and calls are being made, is there anyone that has any questions about what happens, during this time frame of talking to the broker, whether it's when you're on the phone or some hard questions that they may have? I think there was a question here that I might have missed that stated that. Let me go back. Oh, here, yeah. So Joel asks, haven't had any much objections, but what are some that we have to be prepared for? I think for the most part, oh, you just asked again. I got you, bro. So I think for the most part, the objections that you're going to get is credibility. Brokers want to know that they're not wasting their time, and they want to know who they're talking to. And 9 times out of 10, and Peter could add in on this. 9 times out of 10, the number one way that brokers know if you're valid or not is from the confidence that you give while you're talking on the phone. And it is also from the questions that you're asking, right? Like if you never brought up the T12s and stuff like that, and you're like, so tell me about the neighborhood or something like that, right? Like they know you don't really know how this thing works, because none of that matters if the numbers don't matter, right? So, okay, good. You called 3 times, definitely. Glad that you did that. You rock. She's a rock star. So that's what I would say. It's about your credibility and your confidence, the 2 C's. Now, as far as credibility, how do you go about, showcasing your credibility if you've never done a multifamily deal before? And Peter kind of alluded to that earlier. And I'll let Peter come back in and chime in on exactly how to be able to leverage the credibility until you have it by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, at this phase, it's the credibility of the team, guys. I know, there's probably not a single person on this call whose name is unfamiliar to me. I've seen you guys on calls before. It's unlikely that you've shown up only once and I recognize your name, right? So you've all been on calls. You've been on multiple calls. Keep coming back. You got to start taking action, right? You can't just show up on the calls. You got to get out there and do something. But when you're on these calls and you hear these guys talking about these deals, you start to learn the language, you start to understand the terminology. It's the team. I don't have any credibility. I've never done, well, it's okay. Well, it's not actually. I have done multifamily. I've never owned a multifamily property. I've owned single family rentals. I've brokered loans on multifamily deals. So I've been part of multifamily deals, but never as an owner, right? But I am an active buyer of multifamily properties. Just because I haven't bought one before, does, the first time you go out and buy a car, you're an active buyer. You don't own the car yet, but you're an active buyer, right? I am an active buyer. If I find an $80 million property that's Class A, beautiful location, 300 units, whatever, I know where to go. I know who to call. I know that I can get Carlos Salguero's attention if that property, I can't just say, hey, I found a Class A property. Think you want to take a look at it, right? I've got to do the underwriting. I'm going to need to talk to some people that I've met through these calls that know more about underwriting than I do, right? To dig a little bit deeper. I think we need to get a little bit past the napkin underwrite before we get Carlos involved. But if it has potential to be a real deal, Carlos Salguero is going to want to know about it. And if you're on this call, you have access to him. You can't pick up the phone and call him directly, maybe, but there's probably people on this call that can. And that's why you got, Eddie said it at the beginning. I think we only had about 9 people on at the time. We have 30 now. We've had as many as 34 that I noticed. That blows me away. Amazing. Tell your friends, come back. But he was saying that, you got to network, guys. Change your name on Zoom. How do you do that? I think you click. I know you recommended that, Eddie. Where is that?
To change your name. So
Yeah.
to change your name, you want to click. If you go on your screen, you'll see either a mute button, and to the side of it is 3 buttons.
Yeah, that's it.
Then from there, you can scroll down and see
Yeah.
your name.
Hover over your picture, click on those 3 buttons, rename. Put your phone number out there. Put your ID, your IG handle. Put something out there so people can reach out to you.
And also put your location that you're in, because for example, if I know Jennifer is in a location because of the Zoom, I know she's in a location that I'm looking at a property, I now have boots on the ground and an immediate partnership that I could be able to reach out to Jennifer about. So you want to, again, make sure you put your, put your name. And this is always, guys, no matter where you are, whether it's a Zoom call or not, tell people your name, how to get in contact with you, where you at, and what you bring to the table and what you're looking for. Those should be like top things that everybody gets to understand about you. Again, what's your name, where you're at, what you bring to the table, what you're looking for, and how to contact with you. Call that the Fab 5. If you're not doing this business to be able to exchange the Fab 5 and build relationships, you're not going to last in this business long.
Yep. Yeah, and there are people on here that have done deals. There are people on here who've done pretty big deals. Actually, I'm seeing some more names as I'm looking. So get to know each other, guys. Network. Eric, I see you over there in the corner looking at another screen. Are you looking for brokers to call, I assume? All right, come on, man, get somebody on. We only have 20 minutes left. I need you to get somebody on the phone. So
a lot of stuff sent to me, so I'm just going through what I got sent to me. But they're smaller things, like like 4 family, 5 family.
Gotcha.
But every once in a while I get storage and I get something big.
Nice, love it.
Nope.
Love it.
Somebody listed those 4 families may have something bigger, but anyway, I'm gonna
what I was gonna
dial
say
again.
I was gonna say that, like, Eric, I would still call those, right? Because like Peter just said, like if they get a hold of a 4 or 5, there's a possibility that they can get a hold of something larger that may work for what you're looking for, right? And again, if they're a broker, that's who you want to get in touch with, right? Like, I'm going to give you guys a cheat code, and Peter has figured this out. I'm going to give it to everybody because I know that's what Peter is doing. That's why he even started this whole thing. That's why I jumped on board. In this multifamily space, it takes years to get to the Grant Cardone, Carlos style. Like, these guys have been doing it for years. And for you to be able to get your skill set up there, it's going to take a while. But the one thing that I've recently found out, the easiest way to get into multifamily is by having a skill set. Now, Out of all the skill sets that you can have, the most simplest and easiest one is broker connections. If you master every broker knowing who you are, because you are relentless in reaching out and seeing what you got, send me what you got, do you got anything else, calling them every week and building relationships, you never get left out of a deal because you're always the first one with a fresh deal. You are the first step before the napkin underwriting happened. You're the step before underwriting happened. Before it even gets to where private money is coming from, it starts with the relationship of how this deal came. More importantly, let's say you mastered underwriting. Well, guess what? Just because you mastered underwriting doesn't mean that you are closer to off-market deals than the guy who is talking to brokers all day long, than the girl who is talking to brokers all day long. Who do you think they're going to bring those off-market deals to? The person that they've built a relationship with, or the person who's been underwriting on the team? So in my honest opinion, the broker outreach is the best way to get involved in this industry and for you to win at a fast pace, because it doesn't take much more than what you've been doing all your life. Picking up the phone and calling someone. That's my honest to God, that's the cheat code. And if you get the cheat code down packed, I promise you guys, if you focused on doing this for 6 months, hard body, to the point where people start to synonymously say like, oh, Peter, yeah, he's the broker guy. Yeah, every broker knows Peter. If you're looking for a deal, don't even waste time with going through your emails. Just call Peter. I'm pretty sure whatever you're gonna get in your email, Peter has and more. If you let that become your story, you've launched pad into, because you become every syndicators, you become every private money, every other aspect of the business, you now become their best friend because of the skill and time that you put into building broker relationships. So yeah, broker outreach is the best. Exactly, Joe. I could use some help underwriting an off-market sixplex if anyone is interested. All right, Jen, that's definitely something that we could do. Let's see. I can help you. My best communication. Okay, so Jennifer put her. Okay, so it's Jennifer and Jen. I was about to get confused. Like, Jennifer, what? All right, so Jennifer put her contact information there for you, Jen. Just reach out, connect, and this is what this group is about. So super awesome that just happened. Love that. Joe also said something. So he said this is how he's thinking about starting his spiel, right? When he's talking to somebody, he says, I started saying whether we buy principal, syndication, partnership, cash, or creative, we have sponsors or partners that are more experienced than me, and we are well-funded and will close. That's great. That's a great way to kind of like tell them to put some respect on your name. So I like it. Make it work. All right. So any questions or concerns or anything while we kind of have the dead space? I want to make sure we fill that up with the opportunity for people to be able to get some help on anything that they may have. So if you have something, you can just unmute, since there's just phone calls happening right now, and we'll answer the calls or the questions. All right, awesome. So I see we got Atlanta in here, Orlando, Utah. Can we ask about seller finance and creative deals straight up on our outreach? Yes, you can, but understand this, like it all depends on the deal. So it's kind of tough. Here, I'll give you a great example. Typically, if you call on a deal, and let's say it's a couple hundred units, and it is a, you're assuming, hey, I wanted to know if they're willing to do seller finance, right? Most brokers will at that point block you. because in their mind, there's no way their buyer is going to lend seller finance or become the bank on, 100 million something plus property, which is more than likely true. But the broker doesn't really know that. The seller is the only person that know that. So you can soft pitch that out, but I would wait to go deeper in understanding if the seller would be open to that when you start talking to the seller directly. You get what I'm saying? Like, don't let that be a hit or miss on if the deal makes sense, because only the seller can make that choice. For example, there was a deal a friend of mine just got, that the original goal was to go get funding. The funding was going to take longer than they anticipated. And so they told the seller, like, hey, could you give us another 2 weeks? We have it, but it's just going to take that time. But the seller was so desperate to sell quickly because it wasn't their property. They inherited this multi-unit. They just wanted to sell it and be done. They felt like the longer they held on to it, the cheaper the value is getting on the property. Interest rates were going to rise again. And they were like, look, man, I don't want to have to start this whole process over again with somebody else. You said you can close. But because they built a relationship and they liked them, the seller, believe it or not, suggested seller finance, became the bank on the property, and they was able to make the deal happen. Now, if it was just the broker that was involved in that would have been a dead deal, right? So, and the reason why, I think it was Jennifer. Yeah, Jennifer said it in the chat. Typically, brokers are gonna feel like, oh, you want seller finance because you don't have any money, right? Or they are gonna assume that you're trying to get into the deal with as little money as possible. Now, if you come from the creative finance space, duh, of course we're trying to get into the deal with little money as possible. Who the hell is volunteering to put more money in the deal if you're telling me I can do it with as little money as possible, right? So yeah, that makes sense for us. But again, to a broker, especially one that may not truly understand creative finance as well, you'd be surprised. Just because they're playing on that side of the fence with assumable loans and everything, they may not be spending the amount of quality time that some of us have spent in learning creative financing. So for them, they may automatically assume, oh, you know what? This person doesn't have the money, or this person, if we do creative finance, then does that mean I get less now? Oh, you know what? No, the seller's not interested in anything creative, right? So that's how I would use that. I love how everybody's putting their information in the chat. You guys know how I feel about squatting up. Please keep doing that. That is freaking awesome. All right, makes sense. I remember Vina just saying something similar to brokers blacklisting us about creative financing on a Class A since they're buyers to get, yeah, especially on a Class A. It's super tough to be able to get creative financing on a Class A. Also, the numbers typically are super tight, right? So it's just a very hard situation. If it is going to happen, it's going to be direct to the seller, or finally talking to the seller through the broker. That situation will happen. Can pitch when asking if loan is assumable or seller needs to avoid taxes. Depending on their answer, that can see if they're willing to take seller finance. Brokers have seller financing as a negative connotation programmed in their mind already. That is absolutely true, Jose, and I honestly feel like that might be something taught in real estate school somewhere along the line. I don't know, but it is weird that most of the people who are in real estate don't know. I think Peter might have somebody on the line. Not yet? Okay. Okay, he's down. All right. All right, let's see.
Keep talking, just keep an eye on.
Okay, got you. All right, perfect. Yeah, I love this. So James put his name, what they do, what they're looking for storage units. They do creative finance. Perfect. This is how you network. And again, if you guys want these videos, you can come on over on Facebook group, it'll be there, but also on the YouTube page. If you guys aren't following me on YouTube, you should. It's just my name, Eddie Charger. In fact, I'll put it in the link as well. You'll find these videos there as well as some other ones that Peter and I are doing. And I'm trying to get Peter a YouTube page so that he could be able to join in on the YouTube fund that we're having over here, just as a place for us to be able to put these videos. Peter, are you on the phone? I feel like he's on the phone. Let's see if he's able to unmute, then that'll work. Eddie, connect. Can we JV you on deals or potentially purchase deals from you? Absolutely. You can always be able to JV.
If it doesn't fit my box, it might be for somebody else in my network. I'll be honest, I literally just got a text about it. I don't know a thing about this thing. So tell me, you said it's got some hair on it. Tell me about that.
Well, I know a thing or two about a thing or two. So this is about 43 New York. So let's see. It's a lot of the calls I'm getting are from people just looking for a house to occupy. It's not really that necessarily. It's a 2-unit. In the past, in DC, you didn't need certificates of occupancy for 2 units. That changed probably about 10 years ago. And most of my clients, where I manage the property, we fixed that issue.
Okay.
Hey, with the client, a sales client, they never fixed it. I don't manage it, whatever. And so it's being operated as 2-unit. Does not have a CFO. I think that's resolvable, but it is something to figure out.
All right, John. So let me stop you right there, and I may call you. I may call you back about this one, but let me ask you this: Do you have access to larger properties?
Yeah,
Or-
larger property.
You do. Okay. So,
But I don't have anything that big right now. But go ahead.
okay. So the person who sent this to me probably completely misunderstood what I was looking for. Personally, my focus is Class A and Class B, multifamily, 100 doors and above. Do you have anything that fits that criteria?
Not currently. There's a 100-unit on the boat now, but selling, and I don't. Good luck. There's not a lot of that. But no, this is definitely not that.
Right.
Which you do going in. But no, I don't. Most of the stuff I sell, although I do 50 to 100 units, most of my wheelhouse is like, let's say 4 to 30 units.
Okay.
Like, I don't do a lot of stuff larger. I'm a boutique commercial firm. And
Sure.
I took this one on because it has a little hair on it, and I specialize in stuff that has a little hair on it.
Yep. Well, I do too. So, just not right now. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
So anyway, so that's still this without going into it. Sounds like it doesn't really fit, at least for you. So I won't go into too many more details.
Yeah, not the 2-unit, but tell me more. Like, are you just in the DC area, or do you work in other markets? Okay. All right. Well,
In DC and Maryland.
perfect. So here's what I'm going to do, right? Because we have a lot of people that we come in contact with that work that market. And I'm just going to keep your name and number as the boutique guy for 4 to 30 units. And I'm going to make sure.
Small commercial as well.
Okay. Define commercial for me.
So
Like strip plazas.
small strip, like most of the stuff I sell are like in the $2 to $10 million. And so it's small stuff for the DC market that's been expensive.
Sure.
Yeah. And so like, I manage. I sold a shopping center. It was like 15 stores for the last 2 years that I own. There's another one I manage, small, 6 stores and into commercial. I manage a bunch of industrial buildings, and I sell a bunch of warehouses. I mean, a bunch. There's not that much
Right.
left anymore.
Right.
Converted, but I sell a fair amount of warehouses. Like for example, I've got 2 mixed-use buildings for sale in Adams, Morgan. I don't know where you're based out of.
Well, I'm
Pretty good.
Last time I was in DC, I stayed there, as a matter of fact.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, Adams Morgan's consider very good demographics, but it's it's still like a little rough around the edges.
Yep.
I also there, I like it. But
Yep.
anyway, we've got a mixed use building for sale, like total of 8 units, 4 residential, 4 commercial. Not like credits in it, but they all pay the same, like high-end hair salon.
Gotcha.
things of that nature, and other retail, and then young professionals bringing in about over 325,000 gross a year, and that's something I have to sell.
Okay. Well, again, that's outside of my box, John, but I appreciate the information. I do a lot of networking. I will definitely keep that information handy, and if that fits anybody's what they're looking for, I will turn them on to you.
Sounds great.
Awesome.
Good talking.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
So that was
I
really,
hope you
really
guys could
good.
hear that.
We did. So next
Oh
time
my gosh. Could you not hear that?
we hit, it was just a little bit low. Next time we'll just have you like hold it up to the whatever the computer. Or whatever. But
All right, so
we
I
did
I
hear-
missed your feedback there, unfortunately, Eddie, because I had turned my volume all the way down. When he answered, you were talking and you didn't see me. So
Oh, okay. So
I-
I said we did hear you.
okay, but you couldn't hear him very well.
And we heard him a little bit. It was just we heard him clearly. It was just low. That's all.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why, because it sounded pretty loud. But anyway, yeah, I thought it was funny. He's one of those guys that will tell you the story you don't even want to know about, and you have to figure out how to shut him up. But
Yeah.
I did want to let him talk, just just to get so you can get a sense of just establishing rapport with these guys. And look, we know a lot of people in the DC area, right? There are probably people in the DC area in the sub 2 community that might want to know about this deal that has a little hair on it. I don't know the details, but I don't need the details. I can just tell somebody to call John. Anyway.
Yeah.
And he does do multifamily. It's kind of smaller than what I would be looking for. I'm not targeting 30 units. And I'm not telling you not to, but that's another message I want to get across to this group. I hear it over and over again. Go big or go bigger. There's just because you haven't done this before doesn't mean you can't buy a 100-unit building, right? You've probably never bought a 30-unit building before. So if that doesn't scare you, why would a 100-unit building scare you? It's the same work. And you're going to have to do just as much of it to close a 30-unit building as you will to close a 100-unit building. So whatever you're thinking, you can probably go much, much bigger. And I recommend you go bigger.
So on that, and this is probably gonna be a good way for us to close it out, because it is 3:30 and we want to make sure we are, if anything, respectful of everybody's time. Again,
Absolutely.
we appreciate you for being able to link up with us today on a Monday at all, and hang out with us for an hour and a half. So with what Peter just said, I agree with that 100%. But I also agree with finding out where your mindset is, right? And if for you, if your mindset just will not allow you to fully comprehend taking down 100 units, and because of that, it has caused you to be in a state of paralysis and you're just not doing anything, do not try to battle that trouble that you're dealing with. Go with where your comfortability level is at. So call Peter and say, hey, give me that guy's number for the 30 units, right? Like, go after those deals until your comfortability level would allow you to be able to function at going after the higher deals. Now, do you have to do it that way? No, it's based off of your mindset and your comfortability. One of the things that you can do, for example, the reason why Peter is saying like, hey, look, I haven't even gone over there yet, but what's the difference? The reason why he's saying that as well is Peter is leaning on his relationships and the experience of others that he has connected with to be able to go after the larger ones. So the point I'm trying to make is this is a team sport. And if you just can't get your head around, like, you know, trying to transition from years and years of doing single family to getting into 100 units, and now you need a whole team at the center third, build your way up until your confidence and your mindset could get you to understanding what the whole team aspect is and how to be able to go into larger properties. All right. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody. I'm going to let Peter close us out. Again, we are back here every week, 2 p.m. We will be doing this until I don't know when. We're just going to keep doing this, you know. Again, these
I have no end date.
Yeah, no end date. We're just going to keep this going because for us, this is about being able to create a team, a community of individuals with like-minded goals where we can help each other. So again, put your information in the contacts in the chat so that you can be able to connect with everybody. You guys know how to get a hold of Peter. I put my information in the chat as well. You should be able to get a hold of me. But until then, Peter, let you take it out.
Yeah, again, I just reiterate, I know some of you guys changed your names and so we can see your phone numbers, and that's awesome. I'd encourage you to do that in all of these Zooms. Definitely put however you want to be contacted, go ahead and put that in the chat. For those of you on a laptop, if you don't know this, you can save the chat. And the way you do that is open the chat window, and then down at the bottom right, you'll have the 3 horizontal dots, and you hover over that. I think it says more, but click on it and it'll save chat. That can be really useful. You can go through that. You can see names and phone numbers a lot more easily. Reach out to people. I know there weren't a lot of people that spoke on this one, but you know, if you look through who's on here, you can say, oh, hey, Eric's in Atlanta. Well, I'm in Atlanta. I'll give Eric a call. Jen's in New Jersey. Who's in New Jersey? Connect with Jen. Carmen is in Florida. I want to move to Florida. I'm going to give Carmen a call. Let me see where she lives. Just start networking with people, guys. That's how you gain confidence when you have relationships. You don't try to do this alone. There's no way. It's not going to happen by yourself. This is a team sport. Join the team. Come on. Do your homework. Your homework is get on Crexy. If you don't know what to do on Crexy, call me. Call somebody else on this Zoom. Reach out to us. We'll show you how to do it. Come with a list of brokers. Come with names. Come with numbers. Be prepared. Be prepared to make phone calls because we want to make this as effective as possible. This is about training, and we want to teach you guys, but this is more about encouraging and taking action and modeling that action. We want you guys to be taking action. My goal is that I've got 6 slots filled up, 6 15-minute slots. Yeah, for an hour and a half, that would be right. 6 15-minute slots, and I don't make any of those phone calls. I want you guys making these phone calls. So anyway, really appreciate you being here. Awesome day. Hope bring some friends. Come on back next week. Looking forward to it already. Thanks, Eddie. Appreciate you joining. You're on mute, man. Peace, guys.
Hey, Peter, I'm gonna give you host back just in case I don't want to mess up the recording.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming it's got to be recorded in my account. Obviously.
Yeah, it should be, but I've seen it where it does something wonky when somebody else has the host. So
okay.
I gave you host back so that way when you end everything should be good.
Perfect. All right. Appreciate it, Eddie. Thanks for
All right,
being
bro.
here.
We'll talk soon.
Perfect.